Do you have to be a hog to eat today's snack?
Find out next on Junk Feud.
Oh yeah, welcome to Junk Feud, the podcast about junk food, where we rate and review mystery treats to determine which one will be the undisputed champion of snacks. I'm your host, Mike. Alongside me, as always, Alyssa.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Liz.
So, yeah, you know how people always say they pick their nose?
Ew, gross, first of all. And do a lot of people say that?
Well, I mean, I feel like I was just born with mine.
Oh, my gosh. You know, Alyssa, you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Ew. Gross. Hey, this is radio. They can't see you trying to jab your finger up my nose. That's disgusting. And that was a dad joke, a joke you tell to your dad. If you'd like to submit a dad joke for Alyssa to tell me on the show and be disgusting about, apparently, you can send it in to us via X or Threads or Blue Sky Social at JunkFeudPod or via email to junkfeudpod@gmail.com. Liz.
Yeah.
What's up, kiddo?
It's Jawnuary.
It's Jawnuary, and welcome back once again to the world's yeetest podcast.
The gayotest show on earth, very mid, giving them the X super bus and hitting them with the rich each and every week.
That's right, the annual tradition, Alyssa, returns all January long. Junk Feud is celebrating the snacking traditions of the city of brotherly love. It's Jawnuary, Liz, and we've got a really good one today.
Yeah, like my favorite food.
Before we get to that, though, Alyssa, have you ever heard of the Philly tuxedo?
No.
The Philly tuxedo. You've heard of a Canadian tuxedo, right, Liz?
You know.
That is not a thing Canadians say. Why do you think that's a thing Canadians say?
Yes, it is. No, it is.
You know, like
Hold
that?
on.
I watched this guy cook on YouTube. His name is Glenn, and he's very Canadian. He says all the Canadian stuff. A boot. He has bags of milk.
Oh, it's you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Like that.
Yeah, I still don't get this. But
No.
Liz, the you know,
No, I swear, if you look up Canadian like slang, I promise you know's in there.
Okay, well, I bet. I mean, it's a very common
Canadians say
saying.
you know all the time.
Do they really?
I watched this video of this girl, and she always does like these get ready with me's in the morning before school.
What is? Wait, sorry, hold on. What is a get ready with me in the morning before school?
Like it's like a video of like people like, and they're just getting ready in the morning and
So you
record themselves.
Oh my gosh, you watch videos of people getting ready for school?
Yeah.
Is this like, for your generation, a substitution for actual human interaction? You just watch videos of people doing normal stuff?
I guess. I've got a stack of pencil crayons. I'll be perfect for that Drake coloring book.
That was not a terrible Canadian accent, Liz. But the Canadian tuxedo is when you wear all denim, Liz. A pair of jeans, a denim shirt, and a denim jacket. Canadian tuxedo.
That's for Canada?
I mean, it's just called a Canadian tuxedo. Bret Hart, Alyssa, the Hitman, the greatest professional wrestler of all time, would occasionally wear the Canadian tuxedo, partially, in fact, because he was a Canadian, Liz.
Oh.
There's a really great picture of him, like, standing on a cliff by a frozen forest, and he's got the Canadian tuxedo on and his Bret Hart sunglasses. It looks amazing.
Like a Fortnite hill?
I mean, there are actual hills in real life. They're not just in Fortnite.
I just won a victory royale right before this.
Nice. Congratulations to you. But you still don't know what a Philly tuxedo is, Liz.
What is a Philly tuxedo, Dad?
So the first time I heard of this was from this guy named Adam Ferrone. He was a guest on the Pat Bev podcast. Patrick Beverly, Alyssa, a player on the Sixers this year.
Yeah?
So Roan is describing to Pat Bev what he calls the Philly tuxedo. And I think it was like late fall, which is like prime Philly tuxedo season. All the sports are sort of in or just recently have been in, especially if the Phillies are in the playoffs. Philly tuxedo list, a pair of sweatpants, first of all. People in the city have a love affair with sweatpants. You cannot swing a dead cat without hitting somebody in Philadelphia wearing a pair of sweatpants.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I know. And so you got the sweatpants on the bottom, and then up top, two different sports teams gear. So like a Phillies hat and an Eagles shirt, or like a Flyers jersey and then like a Sixers beanie with the sweatpants. That's the Philly tuxedo.
Oh.
Liz, I have almost certainly worn that before, I think.
You wear the Eagles shirt and the Phillies hat all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
It's like your go-to outfit.
I was wearing it yesterday. It's probably like on a Sunday when it's game day. The Eagles are playing and I'm just hanging out at home in the sweatpants and I don't realize it. And then like I have to run out because I forgot to pick something up at the grocery store, usually like something for snacks that we're going to eat during the game. And as I'm on the way out the door, I'll throw the Phil's hat on. So I got the sweatpants, I got the Eagles hoodie, and I got the Phil's hat.
Guess what happened today with my school, Dad?
What happened today with your school, bud?
So today, the town decided to have a flood. And all the schools that are like on our mountain, they all had to go to school. But since my school is like down the mountain, it was completely flooded. So
you had a rain day, Alyssa.
Yeah.
It's January. It's Jawnuary. It is snow season, but instead of a snow day, you had a rain day.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a rain day.
I don't think I have either.
I do remember one time when I was in elementary school, we had what our principal called a no snow day, which was when the forecast, this is before like computer models for weather forecasting were really good. So weather forecasts were kind of like a toss up back then. So the weather forecast was calling for a huge blizzard and the town was scared because it was a small town and they didn't have a lot in the ways of emergency services. So they preemptively the night before closed the schools. And then the next day, it did not snow. Not only did it not snow, it was a beautiful day out. And I remember this because my friends and I, who had no school that day, walked around to the playground for the local Catholic school. And we made fun of the kids at the Catholic school that had to go to school that day.
Dad.
Yeah, I know. Liz, speaking of the Philly tuxedo and your no
Well, my
snow.
friends were over and we made fun of Chase for having to go to school when we got him off the bus.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the same energy. The boy had to go to school today.
Yeah.
Liz, do you ever mix and match like the Philly tuxedo where you have like two different brands on or something like that?
No.
No.
Because I'm not a lunatic.
I mean, you wear Nike socks and Adidas sneakers sometimes, right? Or Vans. You have a pair of Vans.
No, I don't.
You don't have a pair of Vans? You do. You painted a pair of Vans.
When have I ever wore those?
Well, that's true. You've never worn them, but you have them.
Yes, but I don't wear them.
You don't think that counts?
No.
So this is funny. I thought of you the other day. I was uploading.
Oh, you're thinking about me?
Yeah, I was. Isn't that nice? I was uploading pictures of food to our Instagram, as one does. And as I scrolled down, and there was some, I don't know, like some meme, and it was a GIF of a woman rolling her eyes. And the caption at the bottom said something like, "Watching my daughter walk by in her Lululemon tights and Ugg slippers with her Stanley mug, asking if we can go to Chick-fil-A." And that is exactly the thing that you did the other day.
Oh my goodness. And she had like those braids in her hair.
Yeah.
And she was like standing like this.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
But Liz.
What?
It's Jawnuary. We've got our Philly tuxedos on. We're ready to get into it. And that reminds me of this week's snack, Alyssa.
Up next.
Wow, you were into that one, huh?
Up next on Junk Feud, it's Hoagies.
Hoagies!
Yeah.
All right, look, a quick programming note here. Alyssa, what was the thing we said in like the first or second episode about what qualifies to be on this show? What is junk food? What are snacks?
Dude.
You're scrolling ahead in the notes to see that the list of ingredients for a hoagie is a page and a half long. Lissa,
What?
focus.
Why do we have 5 pages of notes?
Oh my goodness, will you focus, please?
I am focused.
What did we say the criteria was for being featured on this show as a snack?
It had to be unhealthy?
Well, no, it didn't have to be. We did carrots that one time.
Carrots have a lot of added sugar. Oh, no.
No, they don't have any, as a matter of fact. That was close, though. You were,
No, it wasn't.
Well, you said words, anyway. Liz.
Are you proud of me? I made something up.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm terribly proud about that. Here's something I'm proud of, Liz. The criteria on this show for being featured as junk food, as a snack, is that it has to be something that you would be embarrassed to tell someone that you had as a meal, like as a full dinner. That's what a snack is to me. It's something that you can't eat as a meal.
I literally have these for dinner all the time.
I know. Well, that's the thing, because here's what's going on. A hoagie is certainly a meal unto itself, but there is a get out of jail free card for this one. And it was based on an innovation that occurred in 1992. We're going to get to that. There's a caveat that I think keeps us squarely in snack territory. And we're going to get to that in a moment. So I think we're okay. We are stretching the credulity and the credibility of the format today. But I think we're all right. I think we're going to get through this. Alyssa, what is a hoagie?
It's an Italian sandwich with meat, cheese, veggies, and other stuff.
And yeah,
other toppings.
That's
on a long roll.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Preferably toasted.
No.
Lightly.
No.
Lightly.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to disagree about that.
Wow, Wawa.
No.
Yeah.
Not always.
Their bread is always so hard.
That's because it's stale. It's not toasted.
Oh.
Liz, yeah, we're going to get to that too. The long roll is the long pole in the tent for a hoagie, Alyssa. A hoagie roll is a long roll, and that's what makes a hoagie.
Wait, I just have a really quick topic. I mean, it's kind of off topic.
A digression.
But I just, so in the mornings,
Digression Jones.
do you
over
ever
here.
like you sit up and then you go like that and crack your back?
Yes.
So I did that this morning, and after I was done cracking my back, I like sat like a frog, and my hips like popped out of place.
All right. Well, that's bad.
But it made such a loud paw.
That's what you needed to tell me. Listen, at my age, Alyssa, you have to be careful when you wake up and you twist from side to side. I remember a couple years ago, one night, I was just laying in bed watching YouTube, and my phone buzzed, and I did nothing but reach over to the nightstand to pick up my phone, and I couldn't move for 3 days after that.
Oh, just like when you got hit in the leg in baseball, and you were limping around Target, and you had to take breaks and sit down in the middle of.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That hurt so bad. I got a Charlie horse from being hit by a pitch, and it wiped me out.
Sat down in the middle of the aisle.
It tightened up. I don't know what was going on there. It was like just a ball of muscle under my skin.
I remember we were looking at the Gatorade water bottles, and you just
That's right.
sat down.
That's right. I needed a break. I mean, what better place?
You're so old.
Well, yeah. I mean, relatively, sure. This is the oldest I've ever been, actually.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wait, you want to know a very traumatic story?
Probably not.
When I was born, I could not talk. I was screaming and yelling, and I was crying, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk.
You know, the dad joke section of the show is over. We have progressed past that section of the format on the program. Listen.
Not funny.
Say
it right. Say it right.
What?
Stop! No, say it right.
You like it when I say
say
program.
Yes.
Well, hey, we're going to get into a deep discussion. Wale.
Valet.
Do you know Wale?
Wally? I know Wally.
Well, not Wally the robot, but Wale the rapist, the hip-hop artist who is a professional wrestling fan. Hosts a big party every year at WrestleMania.
Wait, I thought a rapist was a bad thing.
No, that's with one P. That's what you're thinking of. Liz.
Oh.
We were talking about hoagies, specifically hoagie sandwiches, which nobody says. That's not a thing that anybody says. But the sandwich itself has a very interesting story, a story for another time, Maz Kanata. The specific history of the long sandwich that we call a hoagie probably starts in the northeastern United States, most likely in the late 19th century or early 20th century. And Alyssa, just like a lot of the foods that we've talked about on this show, pizzelles most recently, this was something that came out of Italian-American communities in the northeastern United States.
Oh, oui. Wait, that's
wrong.
It's French.
Oh, you are on a roll today.
Wait, what's Italian? Yes.
Si, I guess. I don't know.
S'il
I
vous
don't actually speak. No, I don't actually speak
La
Italian.
toilette, s'il vous plaît.
The only Italian words I know are the ones you're not allowed to say on this program. Yeah. Well, now I have to bleep that. Alyssa.
This program.
I got to bleep the program. That's right.
Yes.
There is, like so many other snacks we talk about on the show, no singular inventor of this kind of sandwich. But there are some stories. There's one story about a guy whose name is Dominic Conti. He immigrated to the United States from Italy, and he was in a museum list in Paterson, New Jersey, just down the road.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. This was 1928. He was looking at the recovered hulk of the world's first practical submarine, which was called the Fenian Ram. That was built in 1901. And he thought that ship, that vessel, that submarine looked like the long sandwiches that he sold at his own Italian deli in Paterson. And from then on, he started calling them submarine sandwiches. And the idea spread around the region, where a number of different names for the local delicacy came into existence, including later on in the Philadelphia area, the hoagie, so the submarine sandwich list, thusly named in 1928. What else was going on in 1928, Alyssa?
Trotsky was arrested in
Arrested?
Trotsky.
You sound like Popeye. He was arrested.
Trotsky was arrested in Moscow.
Moscow?
The first Winter Olympics were held. The Muslim Brotherhood was found in Egypt. The first animated Mickey Mouse short, Plain Crazy, debuted, and later that year, Mickey starred again in Steamboat Willie, which was the first sound film.
That's right. That's the little leader that
like,
comes on.
Wait.
That's close, yeah.
Wait,
you know what it is.
Yeah.
Mickey as a boat captain, that kind of thing.
Sliced bread was invented.
And all inventions since then have paled in comparison, obviously.
You put this in on purpose.
This is an easy one.
The Okeechobee.
Yeah, Lake Okeechobee.
The Okeechobee hurricane killed 2,500 people in Florida. The iron lung was used for the first time.
Yep.
Ravel Bolero debuted.
Yes, very good.
Shirley Temple and Mr. Rogers were born, and Arnold Rothstein died.
R.I.P. to the legend Arnold Rothstein, a gangster, actually.
Wait, do you know that song? I'm trying to think of it. It's like...
I know a song called That's Gangsta by Shine.
No, but it's like, China gangsta yo, dun 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 dun, that's a gangsta yo. I
100% don't know that. No.
I need to.
You know what I do know, Alyssa?
What?
Well, depending on where you're from or where you happen to be in any given moment, you might call a submarine sandwich something else.
What?
What do you think? What are some other names for a long roll sandwich?
A sub?
Sure, a sub, short for submarine. What might you call it if you're in certain parts of New England, Alyssa? Especially if it's being served to you hot.
A grinder.
A grinder, that's right. If you're in Westchester or Yonkers, what might it be?
A wedge.
A wedge. New York City has what kind of sandwiches?
Hero sandwiches.
Hero sandwiches. If you're on the Gulf Coast, you might have a...
Po' boy.
Po' boy, sure, that's a different sandwich altogether, but it is on a hoagie roll.
Wait, what's the Gulf Coast, like Florida?
Yeah, that's right. Parts
Grandma
of Alabama,
doesn't say it there.
New Orleans. No, but they do have po' boy sandwiches down that way. But Grandma lives down further in like the resort retirement area of the Gulf Coast. I'm talking like traditionally southern, kind of like impoverished areas of the Gulf Coast. That's why it's called po' boy.
I found it. I remember this one. It's Did you pray today? Did you pray today?
Thanks. You're doing a good job multitasking. Liz, if you're in Boston. Spucky, yeah, sure. If you're in Hoboken, right here in New Jersey, you might have a...
Blimpie.
That's right, named after the sandwich shop that originated there. I used to go to a Blimpie in Jersey City, Alyssa, when I worked there.
New Jersey.
That's right.
New Johnsey.
Elsewhere in the tri-state area. Oh, New Johnsey.
A
wow,
torpedo.
We probably shouldn't say that. Yeah, you might have a torpedo.
Wait, why not? Why can't I say?
Well, you can, but I mean, John is... specifically
Philly.
A Philadelphia thing. And even though parts of southern New Jersey are essentially suburbs of Philadelphia.
Like Pennsauken.
That's right. Shout out to Pennsauken, New Jersey. Liz, if you're in Binghamton, New York, what might you get?
Binghamton. Speedy.
Yeah, Speedy. That's right. There's a special Speedy sauce for that. There's a Speedy festival up in Binghamton, actually. And Alyssa, all the way out in Peoria, Illinois, what might you have?
Gondolas.
Yeah, gondola. I've personally never heard that one, but the internet says that it's true. In Norristown, Pennsylvania, they are...
Zeppelins.
Zeppelins, sure. Not the lead kind, just the regular Zeppelin. Also, that's another thing that's like submarine-shaped. A Zeppelin, a blimp, an airship, lighter than aircraft.
And then in Maine, they're just called Italians.
Yeah, that's right. Buffalo has bombers. And then, of course, in Philadelphia, Alyssa, you have a...
Hoagie.
A hoagie, that's right. There was an academic paper in 1967 that listed 17 different names for the sandwich, but I, in my life, have always just called them hoagies because that's what I grew up with. Now, Liz, why is it called a hoagie? Any idea? You don't have to read it. Just like off the top of your head, why do you think it's called a hoagie?
Probably because of like where it was from.
Uh-huh. Anything else?
No.
Any amplifying logic behind that?
That's what my brain told me.
That's what your brain tells you. Okay. Well, Liz, as usual, there are a lot of competing theories. The guy that wrote that paper with all the names, a guy named Harold Raboy, he has...
Harold or Howard?
Howard, that's right. Very good. So now I need to read the notes, huh?
That's right, Dad.
He and his partner wrote a bunch. He wrote 2 academic papers about hoagies. Howard has actually testified in court under oath about hoagie history, so he is probably the world's leading hoagie scholar. Here's the thing. The most often repeated story about the naming of the hoagie was, Alyssa, there was a shipyard in Tinicum in Philadelphia during World War I that was called Hog Island.
Hog Island.
Hog Island. They built ships at Hog Island. The airport, Alyssa, the Philadelphia International Airport is there now, where Hog Island was. And a lot of Italian Americans worked on the war effort at Hog Island, and they would bring their Italian sandwiches with them to work from home for lunch. And so the story is those sandwiches got to be called Hoagies after the people that worked there who were also called Hoagies. And later, just by way of pronunciation, that word transformed into Hoagies. Now, this is a very neat story. It's one that makes a lot of sense, except there are actually no written records to verify this anywhere, as far as we can tell in recorded history. So, may or may not be true. Probably not true. There is a related story where there was a guy that worked at Hog Island, and he had a friend whose name was Hogan, an Irishman. And Hogan asked his buddy, an Italian man, for one of those sandwiches like the one he was eating that day that his wife would make. And so he went home and asked his wife to make one for Hogan, and so they started calling them Hoagies in a similar fashion after Hogan. Now, that also probably is not true. Then, Liz, there was a story with a guy named Al De Palma.
I read that as AI De Palma.
Artificial Intelligence De Palma, that's right. Directed by Steven Spielberg. Liz, De Palma, also a director. So anyway, Al De Palma sees two guys walking down the street. They're carrying these huge sandwiches under their arms, these big Italian sandwiches that they made at home. And he remarked, "You've got to be a hog to eat one of those." And that phrase stuck in his mind. So later on, when De Palma opened up his own shop in 1936, a sandwich shop, he called his sandwiches Hoagies, which, you guessed it, Alyssa, became Hoagies. Now, this one seems to be the story that most historians think is the first recorded use of the word hoagie in print, because there are actual records of this. There are some other stories, too, that are a little bit less convincing. There's a section of town called Holmesburg where there were these things made called hobo sandwiches. They were served at a place called Dittman's, and somehow the Holmesburg Hogabugga, Hungadunga, and McCormick. Yes. The Holmesburg hobos became hoagies. That's a little bit of a stretch. There's another story about the DiCostanzo family list, and they owned a place called Palermo's Bar at some point in the 1920s, and that happened to be on the same street as a casino in Chester, a gambling establishment.
You know what reminds me of gambling?
What's that, bud?
P.J. Whelan.
P.J. Wheelahan's, the restaurant?
Yes.
Reminds you of gambling?
Yes.
Why is that?
It reminds me of that, like, Philly area. And gambling reminds me of a lot of old people and stuff like that.
So there are three things that are coinciding in your mind here, which is the elderly, the Philadelphia metro area, and a restaurant, P.J. Wheelahan's. And for some reason, the mixture of those three things reminds you of gambling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about hot wings, and then I thought about gambling, and then it brought my mind to PJ.
So from hot wings to gambling to the restaurant where you get hot wings. They do have good wings at PJ's. I do enjoy them there.
Yeah.
For my money, if you're in the Philadelphia area, specifically on the New Jersey side, you might want to go to the Jug Handle Inn to get wings. That's probably a better place to go. Liz.
Yes.
We were talking about the DiCostanzo family. Their shop, Palermo's, their bar, is on the same street as one of those gambling restaurants. Late at night, after gambling sessions, the gamblers would come in looking for snacks, and the grandma, the old lady that was running the place one night, she only had some meat scraps left over. She threw them on a roll. She fed it to one of the card players that came through. He loved it. He took it back to his buddies. They all started asking for them. They started serving them out of DiCostanzo's in the 1920s. Now, this doesn't explain the name, but that family claims they've been making hoagies in Chester, right outside of Philadelphia, since 1925.
Oh.
Liz, there's also a story, speaking of you not going to school today, when kids would be playing hooky from school, they would have to have something to eat, so they would buy the cheapest thing that they could, and they would buy these Italian sandwiches. So those were for kids that were on the hoke, playing hooky and eating cheaply. And so hoke became hokey, became hoagie. And Liz, there is actually some evidence that these words start popping up more and more in written records, in Philadelphia phone books, in the Philadelphia City Directory, after the population boom in the area post-war, or, kind of actually during World War II, and that sort of peculiar Philadelphia mid-Atlantic dialect that pops up. The word hoagie is actually used, Liz, in the phone book in 1943.
Oh.
So as of 1943, in the Philadelphia City Directory, there are sandwich shops advertising. There are a few different spellings of them, Hoagies usually, but also hoagies, actual hoagies that you could buy. So at least by 1943, they're popular enough to be in the phone book. Now, There's also a story, Liz, about a jazz musician. His name was Hoagie Carmichael. Some people think the sandwich might have been named after him, but he was not popular until long after the long roll sandwiches were already a hit. And then also, Liz, there was this other one about... so there were these guys called Hokey Pokey Men, and Hokey Pokey Men were street vendors. Remember we were talking about like how street vendors would sell popcorn outside of movies and sporting events? Well, those were like Hokey Pokey Men, and outside of a play that was going on in Philadelphia. That's right. The HMS Pinafore, these guys would sell these cut buns and they would stuff meat and cheese inside them outside of the playhouses and the theaters in the city. And this was as far back as like the 1870s. So those were Hokey Pokey men selling what some people may have called Hoagie sandwiches, which sounds like hoagies, although there's, again, no written record of this that I can find. Whatever the case, Liz, the hoagie is the official sandwich of Philadelphia, as decreed by former Mayor Ed Rendell. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Do you know what some of the varieties of hoagies are, Liz?
What are they?
Well, the traditional hoagie, when people say a hoagie, usually they're talking about an Italian hoagie, obviously owing to its Italian origins. And that's usually like some kind of ham, and then a spicier meat, maybe something like capicola, and then some kind of salami, or even sometimes an emulsified meat like a mortadella. And that's usually served on the sandwich, on the long hoagie roll, with provolone cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, salt, pepper, oregano, oil, and vinegar. That's like the standard kind of classic Italian hoagie.
Whenever I get an Italian one, I usually don't, but I always get it without onion and tomato because that's like crust.
Yeah. I don't know that I would describe wet vegetables as crusty, Liz.
Well, I feel like as a kid, these are still my least favorite.
The
vegetables and fruits.
Vegetables and fruits, your least favorite.
Yes. Tomato and onion, like, ugh.
Well, here's an interesting story, Liz. When I was a kid, obviously growing up in the Philadelphia region, everybody eats hoagies all the time. My parents ate hoagies all the time. I didn't want to try them because they had a very pungent onion odor that I associated with them. Even today, Liz, when I get into like a taxi in the city and the guy stinks and smells like onions, in my head, I think to myself, oh, that guy smells like a hoagie. Like you were telling me the other day, the boys in your gym class all smell. And you said they smell like taco. That's right. And I think probably we're describing the same thing. So yeah, I don't really like the raw onions on them either. And spoiler alert, I did not get raw onions on our hoagies today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I knew you wouldn't like that.
You get
I don't even like it. Well, here's the other thing. So we were talking about some of the traditional varieties. The hoagie, Liz, the Italian hoagie, the classic, the standard, that's what you judge it on. But also, I would say it's not a problem to get something like a turkey and cheese hoagie, which is like a big, long turkey sandwich. I think that's probably my second favorite kind.
Wait, you didn't get provolone, did you?
I did, yeah. Don't worry about it. You're not going to be able to tell the difference. We're going to talk about that.
Ugh,
Liz,
provolone. Ugh.
I'd say a ham and cheese hoagie, also acceptable. Your Uncle Matt had one of those while he was here. Tuna hoagies, very popular. Roast beef hoagies, not as much. Chicken cutlet hoagies. Tony Luke's has a dynamite chicken cutlet hoagie.
What if they made a dino nugget chicken hoagie?
Dino nugget chicken hoagie? Well, you've been to the grease trucks, Alyssa, around Rutgers, where they put chicken nuggets on big, long sandwiches. So I guess that's not out of the question. You probably could be the first one to serve a dino nugget hoagie, if I had to guess.
Well, instead of a lemonade stand... Come to Alyssa's dino chicken nugget.
That'd be great. We could advertise that on the show.
It would be like the clip art bread and then a few dino.
Yeah, that would be great. I would definitely eat a dino nugget hoagie. You know what else I would eat, Liz?
What?
Just a cheese hoagie. I've had those before.
What?
Yeah, just a vegetable hoagie, like a veggie sandwich. Cheesesteak hoagies, Liz, are a thing that exist. I personally find this to be a perversion because I am a cheesesteak curmudgeon, a cheesesteak purist, actually. And I think that's I cannot abide that.
Yes,
the cheesesteak hoagie.
Oh, you know what we have to have soon?
What's that, bud?
The meat that Grammy puts, and it's the meat and it's super juicy, and you put it on the bread.
Oh, roast pork you're talking
yes.
about. Yeah, Grammy makes really good roast pork sandwiches. I would say that's the other.
Oh my goodness. And I love dipping my Lay's potato chips in the juices. Oh, it's good.
That is really, really good. Guess what the best cheese for those sandwiches is?
Provolone.
Also provolone, that's right. That's probably it's neck and neck, I think, for me, Alyssa, for the number one sandwich in Philadelphia? Is it an Italian hoagie or a cheesesteak or a roast pork Italian? I mean, they're all really, really good.
Probably cheesesteak. I feel like everyone always gets those.
Yeah, cheesesteaks are really good. Liz, how do you tell how good a hoagie is?
If you eat the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one way to judge. I give something, Alyssa, the what I call the diner test. So if you're in New Jersey, there are diners everywhere. If you go to a diner and you look at the menu, you can get every food under the sun. Diners have notoriously enormous menus. They'll cook anything that you want, but you don't always want to get something weird at a diner. You want to get the staples, the things that they all can do really well. So for me, the diner test is if you're having breakfast, you get a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. And if they can do that well, then you can branch out onto the menu. And if you're there for lunch, you get a turkey club. If the diner screws up the turkey club, it's not a diner that you want to eat at. So you judge based on those staples. And then, of course, if it's after hours, you get disco fries. Do you know what disco fries are, Liz?
No.
So speaking of Canadians, there's this Canadian delicacy called poutine, which is...
Oh, I like poutine.
Yeah, French fries and cheese curds and gravy. And in New Jersey, you can get disco fries, which are French fries with mozzarella cheese and gravy melted on them. And it's sort of like, I don't know, late night snack. It's really good. So Liz, here's the thing.
Oh, wait, can I talk about my late night snack I made the other day? Or yesterday, actually?
Please do.
So last night, I really wanted mac and cheese, but I didn't want the craft cups that we had in there, like the microwave ones, you know?
Sure.
So I decided
it'd
be a great idea to pour some bow tie pasta into a mug with like water and boil that for 6 minutes in the microwave. And then I decided to mix it with milk and the shredded cheese that we had, like sitting in the thing. And it made the creamiest mac and cheese I've ever had.
Wow, really?
And it was so stringy. It was not very good, but it was very creamy and very cheesy.
Well, I'm very shocked by that, Alyssa.
And we're just not going to talk about how many times that boiled over and I had to clean it back up.
I am glad that you actually cleaned it. Good for you, kiddo.
Yeah, I did. Well, could you tell?
I could not. I didn't use the microwave today.
Oh, yeah, you were using the oven all day.
Yeah, we were baking some stuff today. So Liz, here's the thing. When you find a new hoagie place, you give it the diner test, which is you get the thing that they should be good at making. And the thing they should be good at making if they're a hoagie place is an Italian hoagie.
Exactly.
That's right. So you're looking for a few things. First, you're looking for the quality and variety of meats that are on the sandwich. Are they just throwing some boiled ham and like supermarket salami on there? Or are you getting like real prosciutto or prosciutini, capicola, sopressata, all those kinds of things? You want to see how...
You're like, buccica, secapa, sopressata.
I mean, these are words for Italian meats that I can't really pronounce because I'm...
Prosciutto, capicola, sopressata.
What my wife's family calls a medigan. So I don't exactly know the way that these are supposed to be said, but I know the way that I've heard them growing up. So that's what we say. Capicola is a type of ham, but also like on The Sopranos, they called it gabagool.
What's The Sopranos?
It's a television show that you've never watched.
Is that a good thing?
For now, yes, for sure. Later on, you should probably check it out. Liz, you want to see how thinly they're slicing the meat and that it's actually sliced fresh in front of you. That's what you want to check out. You want to see how they're shingling that meat on the sandwich because you want to increase the surface area to maximize flavor.
You know, it's so disgusting.
What's that, bud?
Whenever you watch Jersey Mike's make their sandwiches, or no, not Jersey Mike's. Whenever you watch Subway make their sandwiches,
yes,
they do not slice it right in front of you. They just have it slopped in this like metal tin, right? And they just grab it out and just throw it on, and it's so crusty.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that when we get to the different types of places that you can get sandwiches.
Well, we gotta hurry this up.
You're right, we do. Liz, we were talking about the cheese. You want for an Italian hoagie, the best kind is a sharp provolone, and you want the good kind that they're going to like shave off and not the spongy like loaf of grocery store stuff. I would accept American, but not on an Italian hoagie. Turkey and cheese, ham and cheese, sure. You want provolone on the Italian hoagie.
Can we bring American cheese up for my turkey?
You do have a turkey hoagie downstairs with American cheese on it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Don't worry, I took care of you, bud. You want to check out the quality and quantity of the toppings as well. Traditionally, lettuce, tomato, and onion. If you're getting onion on the sandwich, you want to see that they are thinly shaved and preferably soaked in cold water beforehand so that you get the crunch and you get the flavor, but you don't get all of that bite and pungency from them. If you're not expecting that, you can just leave the onions off. I'm okay with that. You want to see how it's dressed. You usually want some kind of oil and vinegar. You want salt, pepper, and oregano on there. You want peppers to be available to you on the side if that's a thing you like. Sweet peppers, hot peppers, and then cherry peppers, either crushed like a sandwich spread or whole cherry peppers if, again, that's a thing you're into. And then, of course, the biggest deal is the roll. You want something that has a little bit of a crust on the outside, but is still chewy inside. You don't want something that's completely overwhelming. The sandwich is not all about the bread. It's about the marriage of the bread and the toppings
and
inside.
And the seeds.
That's right. You want a seeded roll if possible. And Liz, here's the biggest thing that a lot of people miss. When you get this sandwich, it has to be cut. The roll has to be sliced, but not all the way through. It has to have a hinge on it. You have to be able to open and close the roll like it's a door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At Subways, they don't do that. They cut it all the way through.
That's right. That's right. And it's awful. Liz, a little bit more about the bread. Traditionally, people will tell you that an Amoroso's roll is the hoagie roll that they know about, if they know a hoagie roll at all. That's kind of a deep cut. As an aside, Alyssa, one time I saw a stand-up comedy show in Philadelphia. There was this comedian named Rory Scovel. He does like a cool youth pastor kind of bit, which is pretty funny. And he went on this like 20-minute long rant about Amoroso's rolls. It was very niche, but it was very good. Amoroso's List was a bakery that was started in Camden, New Jersey in 1904 that moved to Philadelphia 10 years later and kept growing from there and was supplying like every single place that made sandwiches in the tri-state area and even beyond that. I think they branched out to like 31 different states or something. In fact, as far as I can tell, they used to make the rolls for Wawa, but I think by 2019, Wawa was getting par-baked rolls from somewhere else. You know what par-baked is?
Mm-mm.
You make the roll, you bake it a little bit, and then when it gets shipped to the store, they would finish it in the ovens in the store so they could say they were making fresh bread in the store. Liz, a lot of people were not crazy about that.
Wait, Dad.
Yeah.
How do people's last names originate?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, this is its own like 5-hour show, but if you think about some of the names of people that you know, their last names are usually associated with like a job that someone in the family did. So Smith, for example, the most common last name, I think, in America was someone who made something, like a blacksmith, for example. They'd be like, that's Joe the Smith, and then he became Joe Smith or whatever.
So is ours from Santa Claus?
No. So our name is an Americanized perversion of an Italian word that means Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit.
Wow.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Did you bring that up just so you could do that song?
No, I didn't know what it meant.
Anyway, Liz, Wawa rolls are okay. They're not great. They're better than most other places for sure. But if you want the best rolls, Liz, I think you got to get something with seeds on it. You want a seeded roll. That's one that's coated in sesame seeds on the outside.
Yes.
You agree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a deeper flavor, a better crunch. Liz, as far as I can tell, the first hoagies made on seeded rolls in Philadelphia were at a place called JR's that was down near 21st and Passyunk in the late 1980s. And those rolls that they were using were Sarcone's rolls. There's a Sarcone's down near where Grammy lives, and they were great. Now you can get hoagies on seeded rolls at most places in the city and in the outskirts. If you're getting a hoagie from a place like Primo's and it's on a seeded roll, you're probably eating a roll from Lissio's Bakery, which is another local supplier. Liz, we just talked about South Jersey and Philadelphia bakeries on the Pizzelle episode when we went to Del Bono's. I will say, that's one of the things that I miss about not living in the Delaware Valley anymore. There were just amazing bakeries everywhere you went.
Yeah.
And I think the best bread in the world outside of Paris, probably, you could get it just by walking out the door.
You know what?
What's that, bud?
The bread, like the baguette in Paris was like not as superior as I thought it would be.
Was it mid, would you say?
Yes.
A Parisian baguette was mid.
Like,
what a take.
We were in Paris that's famous for their baguette.
Uh-huh.
And it really was like...
I mean, you do have to consider that we probably didn't do enough research to choose the best bread in the city. We just got, the thing that was there near us.
We just got it from some like local macaron shop.
Yeah, we did. Although I will say the bistro that we ate at on like the third night there was the very small shop. I had the sausage dish there. You had steak frites again, obviously. Wherever
steak frites like every day there.
You did.
I begged you guys to have it.
Well, it was very good. It was probably one of the best meals you've ever had in your life. Absolutely.
If I'm ever on death row, you know what to get me.
Steak frites, and then out.
And then.
Yeah, that's right. I like the roll that they had there at that bistro. The baguette was very good. Liz, if you
know what's really good?
What's that?
Maggiano's bread.
Yeah, well now Liz, that's an inside joke that nobody out there knows except me, you, and your mother. Do you want to tell everybody what that's about?
What?
When Alyssa was a child...
Wait, what word? Wait, what'd you say?
Nobody knows the story of you and the Maggiano's bread.
Oh.
Come on. You want to tell them real fast?
No, you tell them.
When Alyssa was a very small child, she was sitting in a high chair. We were eating dinner at a Maggiano's. We put a roll in front of her, just like the little piece of bread that they give you before the meal. And you touched it, and your entire body convulsed, like you were touching something that was just absolutely disgusting. You were shaking and like quivering, and you like almost threw it away from you, and you looked at it and you touched it again and you did the same thing. It was just the weirdest thing. You had this weird violent reaction.
And then it fell on me and I couldn't stop shaking. I was like,
to touching the roll. And now you love the rolls at Maggiano's.
They're good.
Liz, speaking of good stuff, do you know where the best place to get a hoagie is?
Where?
It's
Primo's.
Well, we'll find out. It's just a deli counter in like a strip mall somewhere in the suburbs with a gunky floor and like a sign with letters that are missing. It's whatever the local place is that makes hoagies in your neighborhood, that's getting fresh bread delivered and is slicing the meat to order. Where we grew up, it was a place called Meadowbrook, and the hoagies there I think are some of the best in the world, just because that's what we grew up with and they were great. What I don't like, Liz, necessarily, some caveats here, are fast food hoagies. You brought this up before. Subways.
Oh.
We're going to do the Italian-American department store possessive S for these.
I have
Subways.
a very bad story with Subways.
So do I. Do you want to go first?
You go first.
All right. I never ate at a Subway when I was a kid because I never had to, because we always had hoagie places nearby. So there was no Subway anywhere near us. They were forced out of the market, obviously. It would never survive. And it was never a thought that you would go to a Subway. It was disgusting. So I'd never eaten at Subway, but I'm in college. I'm taking a scuba diving class as an elective. At the end of the class, you can choose to be open water certified as a scuba diver. Me, friend of the show Jim, and a guy in our class that we didn't know named Jesse all took the open water certification class. Now, Jesse had a car, so he offered to drive the three of us out to the open water dive area, which was a quarry in Pennsylvania that had been filled with water. This is in November, Alyssa. It's the end of the semester. It's November. It's very cold. And we're going to go dive in essentially a man-made lake in Pennsylvania when it's like 30 degrees out. It was a bad idea. It's a bad
idea, right?
It was, yeah. We didn't know Jesse at all, but he was a nice guy. He worked at the campus radio station. He was pretty cool.
Kid is how you get kidnapped.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Don't fall into traps.
Jesse was a nice guy. I didn't know him. There were two of us and one of him, so probably we were okay.
There was a nice looking dude on the street. He asked me if I wanted candy. Next thing you know, I'm in a basement.
No, incorrect. Look, we stopped at a Subway for lunch on the drive out. Now, I had never eaten at Subway before. I order my sandwich. The girl that's cutting the hinge in the sandwich immediately slices the tip of her pinky off and is bleeding all over the place. Now, I should have taken this as a sign that I should not be eating at Subway. But whatever, we soldiered on. I get a large fountain drink. I fill the entire cup up with root beer. I put the lid on. I walk back to the table. As I'm approaching the table, I trip. The cup flies out of my hand, hits the table, and spills all into Jesse's lap. This guy that I don't know, who was kind enough to take us in his car because we didn't drive, is now covered in sticky root beer at a rest stop in Pennsylvania in the middle of the day, in the middle of November. And he was not happy. And I felt terrible. But there was really nothing I could do about it. So we just got back in the car and kept driving. And then we went and did the open water dive. And it was the coldest I've ever been in my entire life. After we got out, I went to a hotel and I stood in a shower with the water turned all the way hot with all my clothes on. I was so cold I thought I was going to die. Anyway, Liz, that's my Subway story. What's yours?
How are you, Jesse?
Shout out to Jesse, wherever you are.
Wait, do you remember his last name?
I don't. I didn't even know it then.
Oh, wait, what college did you go to again?
Seton Hall University.
Find him.
I don't think you're going to. Can you please focus and tell us your Subway story?
Okay, so I actually had Subway not that long ago.
Uh-huh.
My story's not as bad as yours, but it was pretty bad. So in Maine, we were driving home from Maine with Ella.
Shout out to Ella.
And her father driving us home.
Go on.
And we stop at this Subway. And it was like the grossest looking thing ever. And you know how like fast food chains, like with their bathrooms, they have like these giant like bathroom passes?
Yeah, a key with a big thing on it.
Yeah, like, so she gave us this like broom looking thing. And so we took it over the counter, and it was like bigger than me. And so we took the key to it, and we went in the bathroom, and there was literal bugs crawling everywhere. Looks like the
Gross.
place had not been cleaned in ages. And when we got our food, the way she was like putting it on, she was just like not even slicing it in front of us, like just grabbing it and slobbing it everywhere. It was so disgusting.
Yeah, Subway is a chain that I associate with slime, which is not a thing you want to be associated with a food eatery, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Also, someplace I've never been but don't like just on principle is Jimmy John's.
That just kind of sounds weird.
It does. And I also don't like the sign that they have that says free smells. I think that's unpleasant. I do like that they sponsored Brock Lesnar when he was a cage fighter, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world at one point in time. So obviously, places like Subway, Jimmy John's, those are the least common denominator.
I've never even heard of a Jimmy John's.
I think you're going to start to see them more and more now as you're out and about. We don't have one nearby us, but it just is, Firehouse Subs, I would say, is probably in that category. Maybe a little bit better. You know what we like, Liz? Places that are chains that have local roots and therefore some limited reach. So Wawa, obviously, because it's Jawnuary. And then Jersey Mike's and Primo's, which you talked about. And we are spoiled now because we have all three of those places within like 5 to 10 minutes from our house, which I think is a luxury.
Oh, yeah. Ever since I put that Primo's there, like, how many times have we been there? And it's been like 2 years since I put that there.
I know, way too many. Liz, here's that get out of jail free card that I was talking about earlier. Wawa started selling hoagies in the 1970s, but the one we're going to talk about today is the little guy, not the sandwich that you have as a meal, but the one that you can consider a snack. It's called a shorty hoagie.
Oh, yeah.
SHORTI, Alyssa, introduced in 1992, a 6-inch version of the classic Wawa hoagie. It's just a smaller roll. It's cute. It's a cute sandwich. And Alyssa, what's the best time to get a shorty hoagie?
In the summer.
Well, yeah, in the summer, usually at an annual event that Wawa calls Hoagie Fest, Alyssa.
Hoagie Fest.
Yeah, Hoagie Fest started in 2008, runs for, usually like a month. Shorty and classic hoagies are discounted. This was an offshoot, Alyssa, of Wawa's Hoagie Day, which was an event that started in 1992, the same year as the Shorty Hoagie, with the Philadelphia Welcome America events. That year, they served a 500-foot-long hoagie to the public at that event for free. Yeah, that's big. Liz, by 2003, they had made a 1,000-foot-long hoagie.
That's a mile long.
No, it's not.
Wait, what? Wait, isn't a mile 5,000 feet?
It's, Liz, what did I just say?
Wait.
In 2003, they made a 1,000-foot-long hoagie.
Oh, I got my numbers mixed up.
I think you were reading ahead. In 2000...
No, I wasn't reading it, though.
You just weren't listening.
No, I heard 5,000.
Well, also 5,000 feet is not a mile, but it's close.
5,000. Wait, I have a way to remember it.
It's also right in front of you in the notes.
Tomato.
5 tomatoes. 5280. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. So this 2004 1776 foot hoagie for the year of the founding. Founding fathers. Yeah. Guess how
1776.
And I mean, we spoiled this already, but how long was the hoagie they made in 2006?
5,280.
Yeah, it was a mile long. They made a mile long hoagie, and then by 2010 they made a mile and a quarter. And after that, I stopped keeping track. This year, a shorty hoagie was $5, and a classic was $6 during Hoagie Fest. And here's the thing: when the promotion began in 2008, the year the Phillies won the World Series, and the year your mom and I got married, your mom.
2006?
Yeah, 2008, dear. A shorty hoagie was just $3. It was $2.99 to be exact. Liz, why did I bring up the Phils?
Because in Philadelphia, Hoagie Fest is another name for Schwarberfest.
That's right. During the 2022 Hoagie Fest promotion, Alyssa, Kyle Schwarber, erstwhile Phillies slugger, just went on an absolute tear during that month when Hoagie Fest was going on. He hit 12 home runs, drove in 27 runs over that campaign. But here's the thing. After that, he fell into a slump. Now, the Phils made the playoffs anyway, but fans petitioned Wawa and asked if they would consider bringing back Hoagie Fest for good luck in the playoffs. And Wawa obliged, List. They called it Schwarberfest this time in October. And old Schwarbs responded, hit an absolute moonshot, a home run, one of the longest home runs in Major League Baseball postseason history on the first night of Schwarberfest. And that's the one where Bryce Harper made that shocked face The one that is like so priceless and it's
Oh,
on
he's like-
t-shirts. Yeah, exactly that one. No one can see because this is radio.
Well,
but yes, that face. Liz, it's one of my favorite moments of the year. And now it's time for my favorite part of this show. Alyssa reads the ingredients. Liz, what are the ingredients in a Wawa Italian variety shorty hoagie? I'm not going to make you read this. This is literally from their website. It's a page and a half of ingredients, which just cooks up to, there's some meats, there's some cheese, there's some veggies,
Flavoring,
and some
phosphate,
toppings,
ham,
and it's all
spice.
on bread, right?
Yeah.
That's like everything that's on there. Liz.
No, because it says everything. It's like vinegar, white wine vinegar,
Oh, yeah.
grape wine, like
It is-
everything. Tomatoes,
all-
sliced tomatoes, white American cheese, milk, water, citric acid,
It is
onions,
all the ingredients.
sliced onions.
From all the things. That's right, Liz.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I want to eat one of these. So let's get to the rules of the game. Alyssa, are you ready?
Yes.
Junk Feud is a culinary clash to see which treat will be crowned the undisputed champion of snacks. It's a King of the Mountain style battle in which the reigning champ takes on a new challenger each week to see which snack reigns supreme. And Alyssa, hey, that's my line. The reigning defending undisputed champion of snacks is
Wendy's Frosty and Fries.
the Wendy's Frosty and Fries. That's right. Sprite put up a good fight, Liz.
Now I want Sprite.
It was better than I thought it would be. Better than I remembered.
It was so spicy.
Yeah, I know. I think if we had done a Sprite episode in the summer.
I think if we had done Shirley Temple.
Now, do you make your Shirley Temples with Sprite, Liz?
Yeah.
I've seen them made with ginger ale also. I don't know what the correct mixture is.
I always just make mine with Sprite
And grenadine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what Uncle Pat taught me to do. Now I just do that.
Shout out to Uncle Pat. Yeah, we're going to have to check that
He's so
out.
good at making Shirley Temples.
He does make good Shirley Temples. That's right.
So, yeah.
Well,
That's
we're
why I'm
going to
excited to go to
we're going to do a Shirley Temple episode someday.
I mean, actually, we already went to Florida, and that was in the past, and he made me a very good Shirley Temple.
That's right. Very good. You're getting the hang of this. Anyway, Liz, yeah, Sprite was good, but not good enough to uncrown the Wendy's Frosty and Fries.
And the nails that I got done are looking stunning.
That's right. Shout out to
My nail tech.
your nail tech. You're 13. You don't have a nail tech.
Yes, I do.
Liz, today we're
name's
trying
Wendy.
hoagies. Shout out to Wendy. Specifically, Alyssa, we have the Wawa Shorty Hoagie, Italian style as God intended. Yes?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what's this? Oh, whose music is that? It's hurting my ears.
But
Mike's
wait,
Jersey
what's
Mike's.
this? Oh my goodness, that's right. It's what's a New Jersey-based chain doing in this Jawnuary snack down list? Well, I'm from New Jersey, and my name is Mike. And I also used to have a partner at work whose name was also Mike from New Jersey, and that's what people called us, the Jersey Mikes.
That's so funny.
And also, if we had meetings,
Ah,
Liz, if we had meetings in the morning, we were called Mike and Mike in the morning. Anyway, shout out to Mike. Liz, not to be outdone, we also have a hoagie from Primo's, which is a small Philadelphia-based chain that's expanding, and one of their newest shops is right here in our backyard. So, Liz,
those Primo's chips are so good.
let's check it out. We got 3 sandwiches here.
We should have got their Italian chips as a run-in.
We are going to do a whole episode for those. Relax yourself. Pop that open, kiddo. There's the Wawa Shorty Hoagie. Now, I do want to make note for all of these. The Wawa Shorty Hoagie, the 6-inch sub, was $6. Right now, there's a promotion where the classic, the 10-inch sub, is also $6. So probably I should have gotten one of those, but that's not what this show is about. This is about a snack hoagie, so here it is. The Wawa 6-inch Shorty Hoagie, $6. Now,
Are there pickles?
No, we got pickles on the side downstairs. The Jersey Mike's smallest size, Alyssa, was closer to $8 when I picked it up. And then the Primo's smallest size. Now that Wawa hoagie is a good looking hoagie that you have just dropped.
Looks very good. You know what these
On the
remind me
table.
of? Those ones that whenever you're at, like say you're at a birthday party for a kid in Philadelphia and you get those like
The hoagie
giant,
tray.
yes.
That's right. Now let's wait. Before you pick these up and eat them, I want to lay them all 3 out side by side
Oh,
so you can see
darn.
the size.
Oh, Primo's. No,
That's Jersey Mike's.
Primo's always has huge sandwiches. I feel.
So the Jersey Mike's roll
It's
is
fat.
different. It's flatter. It looks like
no fat. It's flat and fat.
it's flat, and the Wawa hoagie looks more like a traditional hoagie. Like the
like
Jersey Mike's
thinner.
hoagie does not have the hinged lid, which I don't like. But it does have a lot more dressing on it. Jersey Mike's calls it the juice, which is their proprietary mix of oil and red wine vinegar. We did get oil and vinegar on our sandwich from Wawa. Here's the Primo hoagie list. Now I have to set you up for some disappointment. This is the smallest size of Primo hoagie that you can get. They did not slice this. The Wawa hoagie and the Jersey Mike's hoagie both sliced in half.
Oh, I
Primo's
hate how
not.
soggy their bread gets, though.
Here's the thing, Liz. Take a look at that roll. What's missing from that roll?
Seeds.
There's no seeds on the smallest size of Primo's roll that you can get. It's not even offered as an option. Their other rolls are completely different and are seeded and are better. So, like right away, I'm kind of upset about this. But if you look at all these are the varieties of classic Italian sandwiches. Each one of them looks to be about the same. Some variety of ham, some variety of spicy ham, and then some variety of salami with lettuce and tomato. No onions on any of these, just because I don't want to smell bad. And provolone cheese and oil and vinegar, salt, pepper, oregano. Let's try Wawa first. There is a distinct odor to an Italian hoagie, which we talked about earlier. The absence of the onions means that it's not as pronounced as it usually is. Like when you walk into a hoagie shop, you can smell hoagie shop. These are all rolled up in printed paper with the, logos of the sandwich eatery there printed on them. The Wawa wrapper has sports cartoons on it, essentially. Jerseys, megaphones, hockey pucks, and skates.
Jersey Devils.
Liz, a bite of a hoagie is sublime. There is some alchemy that's going on here. You have the crunch of the veggies right on top. You've got sort of the smoothness of the oil that's binding everything together. You have that tang and bite of the vinegar. And then you have the different flavors of the different meats shingled into the sandwich. You're the loudest chewer on earth, like your mom says. She's correct. And then sort of that little bit of provolone cheese at the bottom that's just sort of melding everything together. Now, on the Wawa sandwich, this is a standard mild provolone. This is not like a really good sharp provolone. But
oh, good.
It's not bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the Wawa shorty. This is about as baseline as you get for an Italian hoagie. Now, on the Jersey Mike's, we've already talked about the bread, obviously. This is more like a Subway-style roll, where it's very thin. The sandwich is filled flatly, not like in a convex way, which I don't care for. The provolone cheese is unremarkable. It's just doesn't taste like much. It's very mild. The bread Sorry, go ahead, bud.
I feel like the meat tastes better in this one.
I think it does too. There's a subtle difference between the meats that are on the Jersey Mike sandwich and the Wawa sandwich. They're sliced a little bit thinner, and they are freshly sliced. I did not see them make the Wawa sandwich, so I don't know if they were slicing the meat to order for that sandwich, but I don't believe that they are. I'm not sure. The ham has a pepper ring to it on the outside, like a pepper crust, which is enhancing the flavor. And there's that telltale Jersey Mike's juice on the sandwich, obviously, which is a little more pronounced on this one than it was on the Wawa sandwich. But the bread is woefully falling behind on this one. Mine's a little bit stale.
I have an idea. Bear with me.
Oh, you're making a hybrid sandwich.
What does that mean?
What does hybrid mean?
Oh, got you.
Very good. So you took the Wawa roll and you put the meat from the Jersey Mike sandwich on it. What do you think about that?
It doesn't taste any.
Doesn't taste any different. Is the texture any different?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it's good, obviously. Now we're going to try out the Primo sandwich.
I don't like how with Primos, I always add so much tomato.
So you don't like how much tomato is on this one?
I don't like tomato in general.
I will say it's a bad look to get tomato out of season anywhere. Which side do you want?
Oh.
This one? If it's the middle of winter like it is right now, and you're in the northern part of the country here, you shouldn't be eating a tomato because it's just a hothouse grown tomato that's been stored in, Canada or Mexico for a long time, or maybe even California. But generally speaking, I like Primos a lot. I wish this had a seeded roll. The seeded rolls are much different and much better, but this is not a bad roll.
This one's spicy. Woo! Tastes like pepper. Oh, it has a smell.
Yeah, there's a little more of a black pepper kick to this one. Surprisingly enough, it's not stuffed as full as the other two sandwiches. The fillings are a little bit lax in this one, but the meat sliced freshly and very thinly and shingled in appropriately. The lettuce in this one, Liz, is absolutely shaved, which I like. It is shredded lettuce with very, very fine shreds, which I think does a good job, conveying the crunch pretty well. Like you said, the tomatoes don't really add anything here, but it's standard, so
they taste like nothing. It was fine. I don't like provolone still. I think provolone is like the sticky cheese that I don't.
A real good sharp provolone does have a bit of an odor to it. It's got a strong taste.
Like the ones that you always get on like Halloween. Or like those sticky cheeses from Miss Natalie.
Yeah, sometimes. Shout out to Miss Natalie. Liz, I want to talk. Let's hit the bliss point.
Oh, the seasoned bread.
Yeah, you've got a piece of bread there that's just soaked in oil and vinegar with salt, pepper, and oregano on it. That's a good look. Let's hit the bliss point, Alyssa, and let's talk about the concept of a hoagie in general. Not necessarily these three, although we'll rate them for sure. What do you think, Alyssa, about a hoagie?
B.
Wow, B flat for the hoagie as a concept, as a whole thing. First of all, Liz, it's fun to say hoagie.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell how the Philadelphia accent changed the word hoggy to hoagie. Probably somebody saw the word hoggy printed and said, yeah, let me get one of them hoagies.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I like the idea of a bunch of Italian meats and cheeses on a piece of bread. It's easy to carry. It's a great meal. It's a great lunch. It's a great snack if you've just got a little bit of time and you just want a small sandwich like this. I mean, I could eat a 6-inch sub.
Though.
Yeah, and be satiated for quite some time. You are continuing to eat. So you said B flat for the Italian hoagie as a concept.
Yeah.
You want to go and do individual ratings for Wawa, Jersey Mike's, and Primo's on these? For the smallest sandwich that they have in the classic Italian variety that they offer.
All right, so for Wawa first.
Okay.
So for Wawa, I actually like theirs probably the best.
Yeah, I think it's, about the standard, right?
Yeah. I'll give it B+.
Okay, B+ overall, sure.
Jersey Mike's, I feel like they were close, but the bread really threw them off.
Yeah, the bread was bad for Jersey Mike's, for sure.
So we're going to give them a B because of the bread.
Okay, better than Subway overall, but not as good as,
And Primo's did not show up today.
Yeah, Liz, I think the different bread on the small sandwiches really torpedoed their chances. Hey, torpedo, that's another name for a hoagie.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like, okay.
So what was the Primo score?
Primo's maybe like a C+.
C+. So all that for you averages out to a B flat overall. Liz, I say the hoagie as a concept, because of the versatility, because of the overall deliciousness, because of the cultural history, is an A for me, an A flat. I think a Wawa Italian hoagie is not the best version of an Italian hoagie that exists. I think probably Primo's does a better Italian hoagie, but they did not, as you say, show up today. So all of these sandwiches, for me, I say will average out to a B overall. So I'd give all of them a B. I think Jersey Mike's was the worst of the bunch. I think Primo's had the best filling. I think Wawa had the best execution overall. If we got a big Primo one and maybe one of their like a spicy sharp or even a mild sharp Italian, I think would have worked better. A sharper cheese, some different flavorings on the meats that they offer. The seeded bread. I think that could have gone into A territory. We know what a hoagie can be. It's an A for me. It's a B for you. Do you think together those things are enough to unseat the Wendy's Frosty and Fries?
In my opinion, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, just based on having a hoagie for a snack, if I need to have some junk food, I'd reach for the Frosty and Fries before I'd say, give me a shorty hoagie, an Italian shorty hoagie, for sure.
Now, for me, if it was just plain cheese and turkey with oil and vinegar and pickles, and the Primo chips, of course.
Yeah, of course.
That's what
you would pick. Liz, I might too. I mean, not necessarily the turkey and cheese. There's a lot of different varieties that I would just absolutely love. But unfortunately today, that means your winner and still reigning, defending, undisputed champion of snacks is the Wendy's Frosty and Fries. But this was a good episode, Liz. Yeah. I think for sure. And Liz, I heard a rumor, speaking of good stuff, there's a rumor that the next new Oreo in the hopper, Alyssa, is going to be the black and white cookie Oreo, modeled after the New York City deli favorite immortalized on Seinfeld. Yeah, so look for those soon. Also, this does break the prediction that we had that Oreo was sticking with their 2015 lineup, because I think coconut cream should have been up next, but instead we're going to get black and white Oreos. And Alyssa.
Yes.
Each episode we ask a very important question. Can you deep fry this week's snack? Will it deep fry?
Yeah.
Yeah, alas, surprisingly, yes, a hoagie will deep fry. It turns out there's a place in South Jersey called Zogies. Starts with a Z, and their specialty is a deep fried hoagie. And as of 2021, there was a bright red food truck in a place called Pennsville that was serving up deep fried hoagies. These are more like po' boys, but the chef figured out a way to deep fry a hoagie roll without making it greasy. And people, surprisingly enough, Liz, have been flocking from all over the country to try it out. Do you want to try that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I do either. There's also, Liz, a place in Levittown, Pennsylvania called Hoagie Express that makes a deep fried hoagie in the more traditional sense, I guess. And they take all the hoagie fillings, the meat and cheese really, and then they wrap them up in sort of like a burrito, like a tortilla type wrapper, and then they deep fry it. And have you ever had those cheesesteak egg rolls, Alyssa, that you can get at bad chain restaurants?
I know I've
You
had
know
one.
of
I
them,
just
right?
can't remember when, but I know I've had it.
Yeah, it was kind of like a big version of those. Hey, speaking of big versions of stuff, Alyssa... I know that doesn't make any sense, but it's good anyway.
Let's get to the back of the big box.
Yeah, it's time to check out the back of the box, a weekly segment where we play a little game. Would you like to play a game?
Yeah.
Alyssa, this week's segment is perennial favorite Around the World in 80 Bites.
We need a breather.
We do. On Around the World in 80 Bites, we try snacks from across the globe. We've been hot and heavy in the back of the box lately with all sorts of disgusting stuff that we don't like, so we're going to try some snacks from the big box list. What do you want from here?
Pick a random.
Pick a rando. Here you go. First thing I grabbed.
Fruit Monsters.
Fruit Monsters. So this is an adorable package. They look to be, Alyssa, sour.
They look like the Airhead Extreme strip thing.
Yeah, Airhead Extreme strips, like the sour ribbons, basically, in different colors. But the packaging list, can you describe it?
Whoosh! It smells like a blue raspberry slime liquor.
Oh, let me try. Oh yeah, it smells like blue raspberry candy, like a blue raspberry icy even.
I don't really like blue raspberry.
Let's describe the packaging before you rip it to shreds, please.
It is a very cute monster with lemons, grapes, strawberries. Those are the fruits on its head. Blue-green eyes. Very pink and purpley package with some Japanese or something.
Liz, you're missing the main feature of this, which is that...
The mouth is clear so you can see the strips.
Yeah, the monster's mouth is wide open. It's a transparent window, and inside it is displaying these strips, so it looks like the monster has like a Technicolor tongue. It's pretty cool. So anyway, let's try some of these monster... What's it called? Wow, there's a lot of them in there.
Like fruit strips?
Fruits Monster. There's a little tray with the fruit strips inside. They look nice, Liz. There are stripes of, I would say,
very fruity.
Turquoise, red, purple, and yellow.
Oh, yes, I love doing this.
Oh, and they peel apart, so you can eat each individual color and flavor on your own. I'm going to try it now.
I love trying to tie them in.
Oh, this is different. Maybe even better than I was expecting, Liz. Yeah, I like this. The outside is covered very conspicuously with a high gauge sugar, like sort of a coarse sugar, which I usually associate with sour snacks, Liz, right?
Uh-huh.
These are not sour. They're just straight up fruity.
Yeah.
Lots of different fruit flavors going on here.
I like it.
I do too. Big shout out to Fruits Monster, whatever this thing is, wherever it's from. I can't read a single thing on any of this packaging, but it's good.
If you want to get them, look up maybe Japanese or Chinese fruit strip monster. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just searching for this gives me
Yak and fruit monster stuff.
Yalkin's Fruits Monster Rainbow Chewy Candy. The balance of
Ooh.
premium ingredients bring you a good taste of Japanese confectionery.
The lemon's good.
Yeah, these are all very good. I like this. Better than the standard, like the bog standard American artificial fruit flavors. I like these quite a bit. Good pick, Liz. Way to go. Good show overall. Excellent show overall, I would say. Alyssa, this podcast should reach you in excellent condition. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. If you've got a question for us, you can write to the address on the label. That's junkfoodpod@gmail.com. Any final thoughts before we head out?
The back of the box was actually surprisingly good today.
Yeah, we had a good one. We ate all that pickle ice cream. And then, Liz, we didn't do this on the show, but after the show, we put this up on Instagram. I made a dill pickle ice cream Sprite float. It wasn't good. No, not at all. But you know what else is good?
Ending the show.
Ending this show, and this podcast has contained your recommended daily allowance of fun. For more, go to X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, or wherever you choose to be social, and find us at Junk Feud Pod. You can watch fun-sized reviews on YouTube, buy our merch on TeePublic, and don't forget to catch all the snaction each and every week wherever you listen to podcasts. Until we see you again, for Alyssa, I'm Mike.
Hasta lasagna.
Don't get any on ya.